going to be a pass, serving one that hasn't been served.
Good afternoon. This is call number 2020-37336 in the interest of Nathan, Colorado. All parties, please raise your right hands to be sworn. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right. Please state your name and your relationship to the child.
I am Dalia Bibiana Orozco, and I'm Nathan's mom.
And for the state?
Sade Parker, Your Honor.
All right. And the court will note that the non-custodial parent is Adalberto Enrique Colorado Palacios. And Mr. Palacios was personally served on November 3rd, 2020 at 8:55 a.m. at 13522 East Red Birch Circle in Houston, Harris County, Texas. And he has not filed an answer. Is that correct, Ms. Parker?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
He was given further notice of this Zoom hearing by certified mail, which was delivered on January 4th, 2021. He's not checked in. Is that correct, Ms. Parker?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
We'll proceed by default.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state would like to call Arnold Barrera.
Okay.
Mr. Barrera, can you state your name for the record?
Aldo Barrera,
And where are you employed?
the Office of the Attorney General,
And what is your position there?
Child Support Officer,
And what is the nature and responsibilities and duties as what is the nature and your responsibilities and duties as a child support officer?
conduct investigations on calculating child support and retroactive child support.
And have you received any special training on how to calculate child support and retroactive child support in compliance with the Texas Family Code?
Yes, I have.
And did you calculate child support in this matter?
Yes, I have.
And what are your calculations?
Calculated his monthly gross income, an average of $2,598.36.
And what would that make the child support?
Child support would be $440 per month.
And was he in that $440? Was he given credit for $32 for health and dental coverage?
Yes, I did.
And did you also calculate in this matter?
Yes, I have.
And what are your calculations?
Calculations for retroactive child support is $16,332.
And what would be the monthly payback on that retro judgment?
The monthly payback would be, give me 1 second, $132.
And did you also calculate retro medical support in the amount of $396, correct?
Yes, retroactive medical support was $396 with a payout of $52 per month.
And the retroactive dental support was $180, correct?
That is correct, with a payout of $51 per month.
All right, thank you, Mr. Barrera. Your Honor, I have no further questions for him.
You have any questions for him, Ms. Orozco?
No, I don't.
All right. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Dalia Bebido Orozco.
Okay.
Mr. Orozco, can you please state your name and your relationship to the child?
Yes, I'm Dalia Itzel Bibiana Orozco, and I'm the mother of Nathan.
And who is Nathan's father?
His father is Adalberto Colorado.
And are you currently married?
Yes, I currently am.
But you're not currently married to Mr. Colorado, correct?
No, ma'am.
And when Nathan was conceived, were you married?
No, ma'am.
And how do you know that Adalberto Colorado is Nathan's father?
He is the only person that I was sexually involved with at the time.
Okay, and is there any possibility that anyone else could be the father?
No, ma'am.
And after having Nathan in the hospital, do you remember signing an acknowledgement of paternity?
Yes, I did.
And do you also remember Mr. Colorado signing that acknowledgement of paternity?
Yes, he did. He was
And
there.
are you okay? And are you asking the court to establish the parent-child relationship between Nathan and Adalberto Colorado?
Yes.
Okay, how old is Nathan?
He turned 5.
Okay, and when was the last time that Mr. Colorado physically saw Nathan?
I want to say around September of 2018.
Okay, and when did you separate from Mr. Colorado?
We separated exactly the 1st of January of 2018.
Okay, and since the 1st of January 2018, has Mr. Colorado provided financially for Nathan at all?
No, not at all.
Okay, and when was the last time Mr. Colorado had any type of communication with Nathan?
The last time any kind of communication, it would probably be around September
Of 2020?
2018.
Okay, thank you. Does Mr. Colorado contact you about the general welfare of your child?
He doesn't. The last he contacted me was about 2 weeks ago, which I reminded him of court because it was about Nathan, and then that was it.
Okay, and how did he contact you that day?
He contacted me via Facebook.
Okay, and who makes the day-to-day decisions about Nathan?
That will be me and my husband.
Okay, and who takes Nathan to dental and doctor's appointments?
My husband and I as well. I
And
take
who
him
go
my
ahead.
husband to the dentist.
Okay, and who would, in your opinion, would you say has raised Nathan up until this point?
It would definitely be my husband and I.
And in your experience, can Mr. Colorado give first priority to Nathan's welfare in making parenting decisions?
No, ma'am, not at all.
And will it benefit the physical, psychological, and emotional needs of Nathan were Mr. Colorado to be appointed a joint managing conservator?
No, ma'am.
And is that why you're asking the court to appoint you as the managing conservator of the child and appoint Mr. Colorado as the possessory conservator of the child?
Yes, ma'am.
And you believe this is in the best interest of your child, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're also asking that this court designate you as the managing conservator with the exclusive right to designate the primary residence of the child without geographic restriction, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're doing this based on possible, in the future, jobs or opportunities that may come up for you and your husband in case you want to be able to move, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you also feel as if it's not fair for Mr. Colorado to have a say in where you live if he has no involvement with your child, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're also asking this court to approve a modified visitation schedule, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And the pickup and drop off for this visitation will occur at a McDonald's on East Tex Freeway, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And the first 10 visits of that modified visitation schedule will be supervised, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and you believe this is in the best interest of your child, correct?
Yes, it is correct.
And why do you believe it's in Nathan's best interest for Mr. Colorado to have a phase-in visitation schedule?
I believe it's for his best interest because in the past he has harassed me and stalked me with the excuse that it was for the child, but that was never the truth. So also before I even came to the conclusion to go to the court, he did have the right to see him and take him. But the last time that happened, he did not return the child to me. He threatened me to go back with him or I wouldn't see my son again, which I did. I went back with him. But that was pretty much just to get my son. And after that, I had to call police and say that I was being held against my will. So
Okay.
it is, he needs to, have supervised visitations, at least until my son is comfortable, because he also hasn't seen him in over two and a half years almost.
Okay. And currently you have private health and dental insurance available for Nathan through your husband's job, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And that is at the cost of $22 per month for the health insurance and $10 per month for the dental insurance, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're asking for cash medical support of $22 per month and cash dental support in the amount of $10 per month, all starting on February 1st, 2021, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
And you're also asking for child support. You're also asking the court to approve child support in the amount of $440 per month beginning on February 1st, 2021, correct?
Yes, correct.
And you're also asking the court to take a retroactive child support judgment against Mr. Colorado in the amount of $16,332, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're asking for Mr. Colorado to make payments towards that retroactive judgment in the amount of $132 per month, starting on February 1st, 2021, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
You're also asking that a retroactive medical support judgment in the amount of $396 be taken against Mr. Colorado, correct?
Correct.
And you're asking for that to be paid back at $52 per month, correct? Correct? I couldn't hear
Yes.
you. Okay. And you're also asking for a retroactive dental support judgment to be taken against Mr. Colorado in the amount of $180 to be paid back at $51 per month, all starting on February 1st, 2021, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're also asking that Mr. Colorado will be responsible for 50% of all uncovered health care expenses for your child, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're also requesting that your address and phone number are not disclosed in this order, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
And as you testified previously, Mr. Colorado has stalked and threatened you in the past, correct?
Yes, and I recently have a baby now, so he's 5 months old. So I would also prefer him to be, keep just for his safety and everyone's safety.
Yes, and also Mr. Colorado does not have your current address, correct?
Yes, that's correct. He does not have it.
He also does not have your phone number, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And any communication you would have would be via email, or he does try to message you on Facebook, correct?
That's correct. But I'll prefer email.
Yes. And do you fear that you or your child will suffer some type of harm or harassment were Mr. Colorado to have your address and phone number if it were disclosed in the order, correct?
It's possible. It's happened.
Yes, and you're requesting that this court grant the non-disclosure of information and make a finding on the disclosure of information, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're also asking this court to order Mr. Colorado to pay all court costs as billed, due and owing by April 21st, 2021, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
And you're asking the judge to grant this default judgment, correct?
Please, yes, that's correct.
And you believe this is in the best interest of your child, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness. I pass the witness.
All right, the court will approve the order as submitted. Thank you very much, ma'am. Free to go.
You're welcome. Mr. Roscoe, you're free to go. You've already signed, so you can just go ahead and log off.
Okay. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
And have a good day.
You too.
All right. Ms. Cabos, can you turn on your video and unmute yourself and Mr. Barrera as well?
All right, this is call number 2020-37304 in the interest of Giselle and Jonathan Cobos. Please raise your right hand to be sworn. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Okay, we can't hear you.
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, please state your name and your relationship to the children.
Myra Kobos, parent of Giselle and Jonathan Kobos.
All right, and for the state?
Hoya Armstrong, representing the Office of the Attorney General.
All right, court will note that the non-custodial parent is Jonathan Cobos. Mr. Cobos personally served on November 16th, 2020 at 5:38 p.m. at 8322 Taro Lane in Baytown, Harris County, Texas. And he's not filed an answer, is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. We also sent further
Okay,
notice.
he's also been given further notice of this Zoom hearing by certified mail, which was delivered at 1:25 p.m. on January 4th, 2021. And he has not checked in. Is that correct, Mr. Armstrong?
That's correct, Your Honor. He has not.
We'll proceed by default.
Thank you. For my first witness, the state would like to call Arnaldo Barrera. Mr. Barrera, where do you work?
At the Office of the Attorney General,
And what is your job capacity there?
I conduct investigations on calculating child support and retroactive child support.
Okay. And were you able to do any investigation and calculations on this particular case, the Cabos case?
Yes,
And were you able to find any income information for Mr. Jonathan Cabos?
yes, I did.
And what is his income?
He was averaging monthly gross income of $9,054.77.
And were you able to calculate what child support would be for these two children on this case based on that income?
Yes, giving him credit for taxes and health insurance of $400. His child support income child support amount should be $1,471, and that is giving him credit for one additional child.
Okay, so we calculated that at 22.5% then?
That is correct.
All right, now did you also have an opportunity to calculate any retroactive child support in this case?
Yes,
And what did that amount come to?
that amount comes out to, one second, $4,683.00.
Okay, and what time period was that from?
The time period was from June 2020 to today.
Okay. And how much would be the payout for that child support, that retroactive child support judgment amount?
The payout would be $75 beginning the 1st of February, 2021.
Okay, and then it will step up to $402 when one child emancipates, is that right?
Yes, it will go up to 402 when the one child emancipates and 1546 if both children have emancipated.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Barrera. Pass the witness.
Thank you.
I pass this witness, Your Honor. You're on mute, Your Honor.
Ms. Cobos, do you have any questions for Mr. Barrera?
No, sir, I do not.
All right, call your next witness.
And in this case, Your Honor, can I release Mr. Barrera to go work on another case?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The state now calls Ms. Cobos. Ma'am, please state your full name for the record.
Myra Kobos.
And Ms. Cobos, who is the mother of the two children on this case?
I am
And who is the father?
Jonathan Kobos.
In fact, you and Mr. Cobos are still married, is that correct?
Correct. I filed for divorce on January 13th. I'm sorry, August 6th, 2020.
And both of the children were born during your marriage to Mr. Cobos, is that right?
Yes.
And if someone should have to pay court costs, who should it be, you or Mr. Cobos?
Mr. Kobos.
Now, are you okay, if I ask the court to make y'all joint managing conservator of the children?
I'm sorry, to make us what?
Joint managing conservators, where y'all have equal rights, equal parents.
Well, I would want to be the sole managing conservator for the children.
Okay. Okay, well, okay,
That's what the order says.
correct, because that's not what she agreed to. That's not what she signed. Let me ask her a few questions about that. Ms. Cobbles, are there any family violence in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you sign an order today stating that y'all will be made the joint managing conservator of the children? Did you sign
No,
that?
the order says that she's appointed as managing conservator and then Jonathan Cobos is appointed as possessor conservator. That's on page
Yeah.
1 of 23.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. My legal assistant notes are incorrect. All right.
All right.
So you'll be made the sole managing conservator of the children and Jonathan will be made the possessory conservator. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you'll have no geographic restriction for where the children's primary residence should be. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then for visitation, you wanted to meet somewhere, you wanted to do a standard possession order for his visitation. Is that right?
Yes.
But you
It was
wanted
a
to
possessive.
pick up location in a public place?
Yes.
Okay. And that public place was going to be the Orlando Health South Seminole Hospital in Longwood, Florida. Is that right?
Correct.
Because you and the kids now live in Florida. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, there was another issue that Mr. Cobbles has with drinking alcohol. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell the court a little bit about that issue?
So he's had an alcohol problem and we've discussed it before. I've asked him to seek help and he hasn't seek treatment for this. I would just like that he not drink any alcohol during visitation with the children or 12 hours before seeing the children.
Okay, thank you. And then as far as we heard the testimony from Mr. Barrera about the child support and medical support calculations, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you agreed to those amounts?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, who's going to carry the health insurance for the children?
I currently have Medicaid for them.
And you agreed to all of the retroactive child support calculation of Mr. Barrera as well, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the reason why you're asking for your address not to be disclosed in this order, is that right?
Correct.
Can you tell the judge a little bit about why that you do not want Mr. Cobbles to have your address?
Mr. Cobos and I had an incident in June where the police were called.
Of what year? Of what year, ma'am?
June 2020.
Okay. Mhm.
Yes, ma'am. Regarding family violence, I just think it's best for myself that he does not know where I live so that he's not showing up just randomly harassing me.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Cobbles. I pass
Yes,
the word
ma'am.
this time, Your Honor.
Okay. If you look on page 4, and we're talking about family violence and possession access finding, it just that's just a finding. That's not an order that he abstained from consumption of alcohol. Can you put some type of wording in there that's he's ordered to abstain from consumption of alcohol or controlled substance within 12 hours?
Yes, I will have my legal assistant add that to the order. Apparently, I see where he did not put that in there. Yes, I will have him add that to the order, Your Honor.
All right, the court will approve the order with that correction.
Thank you. May she be.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Go ahead and log back into the other one so I can put you back with Mr. Barrera to have you sign the new order with that addition that he forgot in there, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
All right, next we should have
Buckner.
Yes. Ma'am, go ahead and unmute yourself now, if you will, please.
She's not there.
Ms. Bohannon?
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? I
Yes.
pressed it
What
so
is
many
your
times.
name? What is your
Brianna
name?
Bohannon.
Okay, yes. She is the custodial parent
This
on the
is-
Buckner case.
This is cause number 2020-35962 in the interest of Avery Buckner. All parties, please raise your right hands to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
All right, ma'am, please state your name and your relationship to the child.
Brianna Bohannon, and I'm her mother.
And for the state,
Koya Armstrong, representing the Office of the Attorney General.
we've got an original petition and a suit affecting parent-child relationship. What are we doing today?
Ms. Bohannon was just received a copy of the petition, so she's going to accept service on the record. You could do that first, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Bohannon, have you received a copy of the original petition?
Yes, I have.
All right, and we're going to reset this case for service on non-custodial parent. Is that correct?
We're going to pass it for
Well,
service.
it's passed, yes. Okay,
Yes, sir.
better nomenclature.
Mhm.
All right, this matter's then passed for service on the non-custodial parent. Anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, you're excused.
Okay,
thank you.
thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, you can hang up.
What is? I'm sorry. Do I need to do anything else?
Select your defaults.